Welcome to the Even Better podcast, where your host, Sinikka Waugh of Your Clear Next Step, brings you exciting content about making communities better by helping people get even better at work.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Even Better podcast. This is Sinikka Waugh, and on behalf of all of us here at Your Clear Next Step, I'm so delighted that you're taking a few moments to join with us today on a special edition of the Even Better podcast. And this is part of our ongoing mission here at Your Clear Next Step to help us all have even better work days. I hope that your day is going great, and I hope that this moment will give you a chance to have something even better. So, this particular episode is fun for me. This is the beginning of 2024. It is January of a new year, right? It's the celebration of the beginning. It's new, it's fresh. Maybe you're already a little jaded because it's a few days into the new year and you've lost your resolution already. You're probably in good company. Don't sweat the small stuff. Maybe you're still excited because maybe you live in that world where it's still early enough in the year that you haven't gone back to work yet. You're still living the joy of the break that comes between the end of the year and the beginning of the next. But this special edition for me is kind of exciting because this is our first episode of the new year. It is fun for that reason. And I think it's my first solo episode. So that's kind of fun. And we're going to be talking about something new this year. This will be the theme of the year. For me personally, it's my word of the year, and it's our theme at Your Clear Next Step. You'll hear it and you'll see it in many of the things that we're doing. And I hope that it will be useful for you today because today's topic is 4 ways to hit refresh on your life or your workday or wherever you need to. It's 4 ways to hit refresh wherever you need it. So why refresh? So refresh is my word of the year, and it's a theme that you'll see a number of times in the work that I'm doing this year. I don't know about you, but there was so much that happened in 2023. Full stop, right? There was so much that happened in 2023. Good heavens. We crammed a lot into that year, did we not? Is anybody else drained? Did anybody else go careening into the end of 2023 absolutely wrung out and exhausted? The number of people that I heard talking about burnout and draining and exhaustion and fatigue, the number of people that I talked to who had tears in their eyes at the end of the year or bags under their eyes that you could pack in for a week, for heaven's sakes. We were so tired. There's this pace that we keep that is unrelenting and that is sometimes, I don't know, unacceptable, inhuman, certainly. And we were just tired. So, at Your Clear Next Step, we're not really an exception to that. We've been a little tiny organization for a long time, but man, we pack a punch. We do a lot for a small organization, and we've had 2 years of tremendous growth in our reach and in the things that we do and in the things that we've been able to accomplish. And it has been exhausting. And so, refresh this year is the word that I'm using to counteract the last year or so of drain and of burnout and exhaustion that I've seen on our team's faces and that I've seen on our clients' faces and our customers' faces and on my friends' faces. Refresh is something to counteract that. It's also part of the mission of our organization, right? We're here to help people have better work days with that fervent belief that if we have a better day, if we have a better work day, then we'll drive home safer and we'll be kinder to the people that we've chosen to spend our lives with. And we'll have a better night's sleep and we'll wake up in the morning refreshed, right? And re energized. And that will have a ripple effect. And we'll go to work refreshed and energized. And we'll have better days or to school or wherever it is that we go. And that second and third day and fourth day that we have cascading after that will just be better and better and better. And by Friday, we'll tip that pizza guy more generously. And We'll volunteer in our communities and sing in church choirs on Sunday, and we'll have better communities because we've had better work days. So refresh to me is also interesting because of the water imagery associated with it. Water has always been important to me. My dad was in the Navy, and many of you know that. And I grew up on the ocean, and so water imagery has always been important to me. And the thought of being refreshed by time at the sea and the time on the beach is so hydrating and refreshing. And the refreshing of the truth that I learned, and I'll nod to my dear friend Barb Rank and her pointing out to us that most of us are walking around underhydrated most of the time. And when you're stuck because your mood is deflated or your energy is dwindled or you're not sure what to do with your brain, you might stop and take a sip of water because chances are your brain is simply underhydrated. So take some water. That's a good way to refresh. So, thinking about those things, and then from my personal perspective, many of you know that my faith and my faith journey is a huge part of who I am. And I think about my Lord who leads me beside still waters and restores my soul from Psalm 23. And I think about Jesus, who is the living water and who promises that we'll never thirst again. So, this idea of refreshing is just a really powerful imagery for me. So, I hope that you find refresh to be a good word, good inspirational word to get you excited for this year. Maybe it's not something that's so daunting. Refresh is it's it's just a little, it's just enough. It's just enough. It's refresh. It's just enough for today. So here are 4 ways to hit refresh. The first one I'm going to offer is to prioritize where you need that refresh. And I think that's one of the things that's really powerful about what I'm thinking about right now in the idea of refreshing is that when you're thirsty, you take a sip of water, right? When you're really thirsty, you drink, right? You drink water. Well, when you need to be refreshed, if you prioritize where that refresh needs to happen, you can be laser focused on the right things at the right time. We talk about balance in our lives so often. We talk about there are lots of different ways to do this. I'm part of an executive forum that looks at a whole bunch of different dimensions in a balance wheel, and we look at, do we have balance around all of the wheel? You've heard about maybe 5 different dimensions, and you want all 5 of these dimensions in perfect balance, and maybe different ways, different parts of our lives where we may need to be refreshed. But at a glance, at just a moment's thought, without doing a whole lot of depth into it, you could stop and think about, okay, hang on, where do I need refreshing? Do I need refreshing at work? Well, this is, the Even Better podcast, so we should think about workplace. Okay, do I need refreshing at work? Is there something at work, in my workplace, in my job, in my career, in my work priorities, if I run a business or if I own that business, in the work, in the mission or the vision or the values that we have, or in our priorities for the year, is there something there that we need to refresh? Maybe it's a workplace where I need to refresh. Maybe it's at home. Maybe I need to refresh. We talk about spring cleaning in the springtime. Maybe I refresh my closet. Maybe it's my home or the environment or the space at home. Or maybe it's my relationships at home, my family. Maybe it's the relationships that I have with my friends. Maybe it's the relationships that I have with my parents or my kids or my siblings. Maybe it's my hobbies. Maybe it's the things I do in my leisure time that they got stale, or they're not healthy, or they're not productive, or I forgot to allow myself hobbies or fun, or it was fun and now it's not fun anymore. Maybe that needs a refresh. Maybe it was an exercise or a fitness routine and it's not stretching me anymore. Maybe it's my finances. Maybe I had a financial direction that I was going and it's sort of stagnant. It's not doing it for me anymore. It's not interesting. It's not fun. I need a refresh. Maybe it's my faith walk. Maybe it's my journey of faith. Maybe that's where I need to prioritize. I would argue that if we try and refresh in all of these spaces at once, we're going to fall flat. But if you pick the one that's thirstiest, if you pick the one that's driest, if you pick the one that feels burned out or somehow like a drier landscape than the others, that needs some refreshing, and you prioritize that, I think it's a great way to start the refresh. So a second step, first way to hit refresh is to prioritize where are you going to hit refresh? And I don't think it's every place, everywhere, all the time. I think it's pick one and start there. I think the second step is to tell someone. And I really do believe that talking about it is the second step, because when you talk about it, when you make a communication about it, when you articulate it out loud, it starts to become real and it can take shape. And you can say, hey, so and so, hey, friend, I want to refresh our relationship. And we can do that together. And that person knows that you're investing in them. Or, hey, workplace team, I want to invest in our team dynamics together. Or, hey, person that I value, I want to invest in refreshing our relationship or our connection. Or a fitness instructor, I want to refresh my fitness routine. Help me. And so you can take this moment and you can prioritize, and then you can tell them about it. And somehow, when you go to get refreshed, talking about it with someone else makes it real. It makes it take shape. It tells that other person, if they're involved somehow, that they matter. It helps make it a commitment to yourself and to them. It helps put borders and boundaries around it. It helps take something from maybe a figment, perhaps an idea, something theoretical, and turn it into something concrete that you can actually do. It helps move it forward. So tell someone. First, pick one, prioritize it, and then tell someone. Talk about it. Start articulating it. Give it a shape. When I first started talking about refresh as my word of the year this year, the first person that I shared it with just absolutely lit up. And it was really fun to see their response and to see them just take it and yes and it, right? They took that idea of yes, oh, and you could do this, and you could do this, and that's so powerful because of this, and that's so, oh, I see, Sinikka, why you would need this. And they helped me even be able to articulate why it was so important to me. So tell someone. I think a third thing that is really important in a way to hit refresh is to make it something that you love. So, what do I mean by this? When you're hitting refresh, let's say, for example, that this year I wanted to hit refresh and I decided that I wanted to hit refresh on something. I can't even, I'm not even sure I can come up with a good example, but I wanted to hit refresh on something and I made it something super tedious and dreary and dull. And I said, oh, in order to refresh this, I'm going to lock myself in a closed, dark, windowless space all alone by myself with nothing to read and no one to talk to. And I'm going to sit there and stare at numbers until my brain goes dark. Well, no, 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 no. Oh, and I'm going to eat lima beans while I do it. Well, this is not going to happen. Like, this is not refreshing to me. This is not energizing. This is not inspirational. Yuck. I look at where I'm sitting right now in my office, and two whole walls of my office are windows. And part of what made me come here today was the acknowledgement that and the awareness that someone else was also coming to the office today and I would have human interaction. And the knowledge that as I'm recording this podcast, that I'm going to connect with other humans, or maybe you're going to be listening to this, and then I might have the chance to help someone else. I'm not going to be sitting by myself in the dark. The thought that I would have to sit and eat lima beans, which are perhaps one of two foods that I will pick out of things when served them. Sorry. I just, ugh. Yuck, right? So if you make this refresh something that actually drains you or sucks you dry, it's not going to refresh you at all. Make it something you love. Make it something you love. So as you think about refresh, and my refresh is still taking shape. I'm still working on it. I'm finding the right words. I'm finding the right language. This is why telling someone, talking about it is the second step. I'm still working on it. But I know that as it takes shape, it has to be something that I love. It has to be something that when I talk about it, I have to light up. You have to be able to see my eyes open wide, and you have to be able to see me lean in. And you have to be able to see that smile on my face and hear it in my voice. You can hear it now because as I'm talking about refresh, I'm thinking about the words that I'm starting to use, which for me personally and for our mission as an organization, our mission is starting to take shape to refresh 10,000 people this year, to refresh 10,000 new people this year. Like, how fun is that? How cool is that as a refreshing mission for your Clear Next Step this year? And that sounds cool. That sounds like something I could stick to. That sounds like something I love. And that sounds like something our organization as team members and our various partners and our employees and the people that are part of this team will all get jazzed about. The more you love it, the more you want to do it, the more it will refresh and inspire you. And as I think about that, I know that that is an act of service because for us, it's not about refreshing us, it's about refreshing others, which is how we in fact get refreshed, is by pouring into others. As you think about refresh, in this case, it shouldn't be a drain. It shouldn't be a drain. So as you think about what you're doing, you shouldn't think about it and dread it. Make it something you love. It's a refresh, it's a pouring in. It should feel like standing in the rain if you love standing in the rain. It should feel like standing in the sunshine if you love standing in the sunshine. It should feel like toes in the sand if you love toes in the sand. But if you hate toes in the sand, it shouldn't feel like that. So make it something you love. And the fourth thing I'm going to offer as you hit refresh, 4 ways to hit refresh. The first one, prioritize where. Where are you going to hit refresh? The second one, tell someone about it, talk about it, give it shape. The third one, make it something you love. And the fourth one, go all in. Go all in. Maybe this is because of who I am, but I sort of feel like go big or go home. Go big or go home. If you're going to refresh just a little, you're not going to refresh at all. Like, oh, you've just run a marathon, you're exhausted, you've come across that finish line and oh, I think I'll just take a little sip of water, thank you. No, a little sip of water isn't going to do it. Go big or go home, right? Take that big gulp of water. You just played a championship game and you won or you lost, I don't know, but dump that whole bucket of Gatorade on your head. Go big or go home. If you're thirsty, get refreshed in a big way, not a little way. It's a refresh. It's a making it fresh. And I'm not, I guess I don't mean a complete overhaul. I'm not saying that a refresh means you need to change your stripes. I'm not saying it means we need to change our character or we need to change who we are or we need to, in some way, overhaul completely something about ourselves. What I'm saying is that when you choose how you're going to refresh, don't go half hearted. Don't just go lip service. Don't say, meh, I suppose I could kind of give it my best shot to refresh. Say, yes, yes, I want to refresh. I'm all in. I'm all in. And see what happens. That's what I'm going to try. So, as this is the Even Better podcast, one of the questions that I usually ask my guests is what's making you even better right now? And I will share with you that one of the things that's making me even better right now is this commitment to refresh, this commitment to face 2024 with a refreshed outlook, with some new habits, some new outlook, some new approaches, and with this idea of all in, ready to refresh and to pour into others so that I have the opportunity to also be refreshed. I hope that you have ways to refresh this year, and I would absolutely love to hear about them. You can find me on all of the social medias. I'm out there on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. Your Clear Next Step is out in all the spaces as well. I would love to hear how you're refreshing. Will you join us on social media? Will you connect? It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you so much for taking a few moments out of your day to join us today. To spend a few minutes, I hope this has been useful. And on behalf of all of us here at Your Clear Next Step, we hope the rest of your day is even better.
Thank you for tuning in today. The Even Better podcast will be back with more content soon. But in the meantime, subscribe to our podcast or check out our website at yourclearnextstep.com for more information. See you next episode.